Welcome back to the podcast, Andrew Douglas. How are you, sir? Are you all right, Lee?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here. And it's good to be here. The weather's a little bit better here.
Good, good. I've been hearing it's quite crazy where you are. You were telling me that you
Yeah,
got all sorts of mad ice storms and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We survived the ice storm but today's a beautiful day. But
There you
yeah,
go.
I don't know if you've had ice storms there, but the trees freeze up and then they just start falling all over the place.
God,
And
sounds like something like a Game of Thrones, winter's
yeah,
coming, that kind of thing. Yeah.
totally, totally.
Nuts. But you've been incredibly busy this last while. I don't know. With Winter Storm and everything, you really haven't took your foot off the gas, really?
I know it's a vicious cycle where I may have even talked about this with you where
Mm.
you finish a big project and you promise yourself you're never going to do anything like that again. But then you get bored and you decide you're going to do a new project
Yeah.
and then you're so busy that you swear you'll never do a big project again. And then
Hmm.
you relax for a week. And anyway, the cycle continues.
That's it. You forget about it, don't you? You forget about the pain, the aggro, the stress, and then you go and do it all again. I don't know.
Yes.
We're kind of sadists that way, I guess. Yeah. But
Well, I do think it's interesting. You and I think, and a few others are in the game of just
mm,
sort of seeing how you can apply technology to the bagpiping world a little bit here
yeah.
and there. And so those aren't ever easy projects. You always figure out why it is that it hasn't been done yet.
Yeah,
Uh,
very quickly too. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And usually in my case, I've already promised the result to the customer. So then you got to figure out how to do it. But
Yeah.
no, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun and yeah, busy is better than bored, at least for me.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, I have to ask you about a few things that I've had my eye on from the Pipers Dojo and the recent video series that you've been doing along with Jim and Droning On Pod. Those conversations are just magic. I
They're
don't
cool,
know.
right?
They're so good. And like Jim has such I don't know, a handle on the English language that he can say things way better than I ever could. And he
Yeah, me
finds some
too.
real random analogies and
Yeah.
comparisons. Some,
Well, he
yeah.
and I really kind of and then for your listeners, if they haven't checked out the Droning On podcast, that's Jim's side project in
Mm,
itself. And anyway, he asked me to go on there, and we ended up having this long, deep
mm.
thoughts, deep thoughts with Jim and Andrew. That was the original. But anyway, at the time, I was trying to figure out a way to make my own podcasts a little bit more interesting. And so I asked him if he would be interested in joining me. And he said, sure, let's try it. And it's been, yeah, great fun. It's been great fun. I think that for some reason a lot easier
Mm.
to have a dialogue than it is to just sort of speak at the camera.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like Jim asks some of the questions that you always think, but you never really ask because of fear
Yes.
of embarrassment. You know what I mean? Like some things about, setup and like how exactly do you put hemp on a drone? And
Mhm.
simple things like that. But it's just brilliant to hear it unpacked in a way. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's it.
So shout out to Jim if he's
Shout
out
out to
there.
Jim, absolute legend. Now there was one little video I caught earlier on. I think it was over the weekend. I was just kind of flipping through TikTok, and I think that's where I've stumbled on it. And you were talking about two different versions of the D throw, and this kind of
Uh-oh.
threw me. Got what? There's two versions.
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
What is this mystery? I've only ever really been shown one, and my tutor refuses to show me the other one. He says
Well,
because it'll confuse
which
me.
one has he shown you? Which one has he shown you?
Right, I'm gonna have to play it then, aren't I? All right, we'll have to get my fancy New York out.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there you go. ES Session Chanter right
yes,
there.
session chatter. Right, I don't know if the mic's gonna pick this up or if it's my bad plan.
Oh yeah,
So,
okay.
so
Those
whatever,
are
and then
good.
you go up the
Tho-
scale or
Those are
scale.
good. Rab, those are some good D throws there, buddy.
I've been practicing. Yeah, I'm. That's one of the movements I struggle with.
There are some other podcast hosts out there with technique not nearly that good. So well
Oh
done.
God, there you go. Hey, shout out to my shooter Andrew. Cheers.
But also that is that's what we would call the light D throw there.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm in my basement here, but I don't have my practice chanter. But the
Hmm.
steps the steps there are you're going to play a low G,
Mm-hmm.
Then you play a D grace note to C,
Yeah.
and then you play D after that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of other possible ways you could go about teaching that or thinking about it, but that's give or take the light D throw. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other type of D throw is called the heavy D throw, and it's basically just a grip to C,
Oh,
and then you go up to D. So it actually has an extra step in there.
I see. Yeah, there's an extra. Oh, and that's what makes it heavy because there's a bit more
Yes.
going on.
Well, and
Right.
that exactly, yeah, and it has a bit heavier of a sound, and it's grip based. It's a
Mm,
direct relative of the grip. And before we get too deep into this, I would say,
hmm.
despite what people say about me, that both grips, that both D throws rather,
Yeah.
when played well, both of them are excellent options. And just remember the secret words there, where if it's played well, either of those D throw styles are great.
There you go. Now I know every drummer listening right now is rolling their eyes and going, "Oh, come on!" Right. So to put it in drummer language, all right, this is the difference between a five played with a single at the start with an accent between a five played with a flam at the start. You're just throwing in a little tasty extra. Yeah.
Hmm.
There you
Could
go.
be. Yep, exactly. It might also be, yeah. Yep. It might also be, I feel like some drummers play
Hmm.
the triplet style opening roll, and then some of the hot shots play the 16th note style opening rolls,
Oh,
right?
I get you. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
like maybe
Hmm.
there's two ways of achieving the same thing, both of
Hmm.
which I think probably when played well are good options. I'm
Spot
thinking.
on.
I don't know. What do I
Yeah.
know? But
No,
there it is.
and it's completely down to technique and what your preference is. Yeah, but they both generally sound the same if played. But yeah, I get you.
Something
There you
like that.
go. So that was completely nerdy on my part. Yeah. So, but there is something I really wanted to ask you about, and that is the huge event that you have coming up in Scotland in August. Tell us about this then, the dojo. What are you guys up to?
Yeah, so it's a little bit something interesting that we're trying. We're trying kind of like a little mini gathering of dojo folks in the Edinburgh area.
Mm,
We're gonna be at the Fettes College there the week before Piping Live with a lot of dojo folks. We kind of thought that one of the things our folks really want more of is in-person events. So we
yeah.
kind of figured frankly, the calm before the winter storm event that we did, which we did a few days before the winter storm, it was
Hmm.
the same. It was the same basic idea, which is what are the best piping events, and then can we do something? Can we do something? What's the right word? Together with those events, so that
Right.
so folks can come in, do a little bit of dojo stuff, but then also stay on and check out the scene. So obviously, Winter Storm came to mind, but of course, the great pilgrimage for all is the Piping Live Festival that
Yeah.
culminates with the Worlds. And by the way, if you're really crazy, you could stay on for Open as well and check out the solo piping.
I was
So
gonna
anyway,
say, yeah, it's not far from that. Yeah.
yeah, so anyway, we worked with a few of our friends, and we have a cool venue, and I think it's going to be great.
Nice. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Well, as more details about this come available, then you'll have to let us know. Yeah, because
Sure. Well, we'll post on social media and stuff as the weekend goes, or as the week goes on rather.
yeah,
But yeah, it should be great. I know that we have some special guests dropping in from throughout Scotland
nice.
and so on
Yeah.
to meet up with the students, and we should all be able to jam together, so to speak, and it should be pretty cool.
There you go. That sounds great. And it is, as you say, smack bang in the middle of the high, it's high activity bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And especially now, where we have the competition in Perth as
Oh, I
well.
know.
We have the
Well,
Euros.
the competition in Perth, man,
Yeah,
it really sort of put a bit of a threw a bit of a curveball at us. Is that a term people use in the UK? It's a baseball
absolutely.
term.
Yeah, yeah. We've heard of that too. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe they have it. Do they have curveballs in cricket? I don't know,
I don't know.
but
Yeah.
anyway, they really threw one. They
Yeah.
really, or did they like? Did they bend the corner kick, or I don't know how it's supposed to work,
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a
but
sports person. Yeah.
the major in Perth is going to be cool. But I think it probably forced North Berwick to change its plans, and we were thinking
Mm.
about visiting North Berwick, which would usually be on that weekend, but now it's kind of switched up on us. But that's okay. It should be. I mean, I think the major in Perth, I think it might accidentally be the best thing the RSPBA has done in a long time. I don't
Yeah.
want that to come out negative sounding. Just in a
No,
positive way, I think that's going to be a great major. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming like SFU is going to be there, and
that's it.
it's going to be
Yeah.
a big
We
showdown of bands.
Yeah, we know a lot of international bands would come over the week before and they would do the likes of North Berwick and other competitions like that as a
Yeah,
warm up. But now they get the chance to hit a major. So
I
it's
know.
like, I don't know. It's like in boxing, you get the 1-2 kind of thing. So they're going to be able to throw that left jab before the right hook on the on the world.
Yeah,
So it's going to be fun. Yeah, we're certainly going to
it's
be covering all of it.
I'm picturing it being a very high pressure major,
Mm,
and high excitement, um and probably will it be the highest attended major? It must be the highest
possibly.
attended major of the season, right? With some
Yeah,
overseas bands coming over for it. So, wow. So
absolutely.
it's gonna be great. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
oh, it is
awesome.
for sure. Now, I have to say, to give full credit to Perth, we've had a pretty terrible conditions at the Perth competition in the past few years. It's
Yeah,
known for its bad weather, so we're
exactly.
really hoping that it's going to be nice and dry and people don't get
Yeah.
soaked ahead of the worlds.
Yes. Well, it's going to be yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's one
Mm,
of those things, it's one of those funny things. If you hang around the grade 1 bands as well, you'll know that the weekend before the Worlds, the grade 1 bands will come out, but usually only if the weather is good,
yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
if it's bad, they usually just stay at the band hall and maybe
Mm.
have a practice. But this is going to really be interesting, especially if the weather's bad. It's going to get interesting, I think.
100%. Yeah. And we've spoke to some grade one PMs already, and they're already talking about possible tactics about not overplaying that week and making sure everything's dry and, ready to go.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. But
It's
anyway,
an amazing game, isn't it? I
it
love
is.
the game of it. The game of it never for me it's the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't. I've recently heard this. I don't know if you've heard this. Well, this is possibly one of Jim's analogies. Have you ever heard of pipe bands being compared to Formula One? Have you ever watched Formula One and the
Ah,
teams and how they operate?
so I'm aware that Formula One is something I should check out because I've heard it's
Mm.
really cool. But I only know very, very minimal information about that.
They really get into the weeds and getting that 100th of a second and stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that's what pipe bands is like. We're after that little fine margin of possibly lifting a prize. So yeah, there you go. That's my
Yeah.
analogy for the week.
No, it's a good one. I mean, it's
Hmm.
and any of those team sports are really similar, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So I need to ask you then about an exciting new venture that you've been working on, this new internal podcast. As if you aren't
Yeah.
doing enough already, Andrew.
So yeah, well, this is an extension of the Dojo University product that we have. So we have a premium membership, which is everything you could imagine, really. Probably too much. We've got lessons with famous players, we've got the routine stuff with the dojo staff, we've got I mean, we've got 60 courses or something on there of various types. We've got the snare drumming now. We've got the live classes. We have like 8,000 pre-recorded classes in our archive. It's insanity. And so we've got the premium membership. We have a basic membership, which is sort of like, a little bit less expensive without all the bells and whistles. But then one of the things that's been on our list to think about for quite a while is a really economical version of the Dojo U membership that someone who's really casual can do. And this thing sort of popped up in front of me while I was surfing the computer, the idea of a paid podcast. Like I know a lot of podcasters have their Patreon where
Mhm.
where their special subscribers can pay a little bit to get access to some secret stuff. But
Yes.
we've kind of flipped that on its head, and we've now launched our Dojo U Insider Podcast, which is actually a paid product. It's what is it? It's $5 a month or $50 a year.
Hmm.
And then we release an audio podcast lesson from the Dojo U archives once every day
Wow.
as
Every
part of the
day.
podcast. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's approximately an hour. It's approximately a 1 hour lesson each day. Technically, actually, it's a bit less because we edit all the lessons down and we trim things and we make
Mm.
sure that they're as smooth as reasonably possible for the listeners. But then, yeah, every day, I don't know about you, but I love my podcast app.
Oh yeah,
When I get in the
absolutely.
car, I kind of like when I get in the car, I see my new Insider episode,
Hmm.
and we try to mix it up as much as we can. I think last week we had an excerpt from Jim McGilvery and stuff from Rab Matheson and Cam Drummond and Alistair
Mm.
Henderson and a bit from Carl and myself and some of the dojo staff. And
Yeah,
then also we do early access to the podcast that Jim and I do. It's all
right.
kind of it's built into it. But it's sort of a daily dose of bagpiping education it comes out to like 14 cents per lesson, which is
Wow.
cool. We're super excited about it. It's been going great. And yeah, technology is amazing.
There you go. And I was going to say daily content. That's a
Yeah.
lot of work, you know. So full credit to you. Like I know what it's like doing a pod every week.
Yeah. Well,
But
we have a great team and we have
mm,
incredible instructors. And so, we do these live classes anyway, and we do keep the video recordings for our premium members. They can rewatch it, a
yeah.
million times if they want to. But then what we thought we would do is sort of mix those down into audio form
Mm,
for the insider listeners. And it's just, yeah, it's a great way to keep the bagpipe education going, even if you don't have a lot of time or if you're busy at work or if you're always on the go.
yeah. Yeah.
You can just listen to the podcast and follow along as often as you like to.
There you
Yeah,
go. And you could practice your heavy and light D throws on the steering wheel as you're
exactly.
as you're driving to work in the morning or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
I think bagpipe lessons sometimes it's easy to feel like bagpipe lessons or however you learn bagpipes that it's all about practicing and it's all about technique.
Yeah.
But it's actually, in my opinion, it's really about soaking it all in. And so much of my bagpipe education has just been hanging out with great players and hanging out with my teachers and thinking
Mm,
about things and learning to think about things in a different way. And that inspiration is really important. And now I think with Dojo U Insider, you can really get that Dojo U style immersion
yeah.
for a not significant price point. So that's what we wanted to achieve with that.
There you go. And as you say, like it's real bang for your buck there. Like the amount of audio that you're getting for your money, that's really valuable there for sure. And I know
Yes.
you mentioned earlier about the premium membership. We've been doing the test drive and stuff for folks here in Rab Show. They can go and sign up and take it for 30 days. And some of the feedback we've been getting is that, oh my word, Rab, I had no idea there was so much stuff here. Where do
Yeah.
I start?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's one of our biggest challenges is
Mm,
that we have so much now. I mean, we started doing this way before people thought that it was cool to do
yeah.
stuff on the internet. And so as a result, like I said, we have I think 8,000 or something archived
Wow.
lessons.
That's
So
huge. Yeah.
so one of the big challenges is presenting that in a way that's workable, and we're always working on stuff to make that easier.
There you go. So,
Yeah.
well, I know it sounds like a huge shameless plug, but I would definitely recommend folk to go and check this out for sure. This sounds like a great resource. And,
Yeah,
there is such a thing as passive learning. You know what I mean?
of course.
Like that you
Yep.
could be in the car going somewhere doing the groceries or whatever, and you're listening to something, and so a wee nugget gets in there. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
then, yeah, before you know it, it's improved your playing. You're now playing space all over the place. And
Yeah, it's like you've struggled to figure out how to tune your pipes for 2 years, and then somebody will say something, who knows what it
mm,
is, and then suddenly it gets into your brain, and you're like, wait, is that all it is?
yeah, is it
Uh,
that simple? That like,
I remember, I mean, a classic anecdote of mine that's along those lines that pops into my mind is I remember one of the years we were at the Worlds with Oren Moore and we had gotten cut and we didn't make the final. And what I would do in those years is I would just wake up early and the next day I'd follow Field Marshal around the park just to kind of try and learn something.
yeah.
And one of these days it wasn't great weather. And well, first of all, Field Marshal was nowhere to be seen for quite a long time. And you're kind of
Yeah.
like, well, like, what do you know? But then they finally they did show up, but like I just remember watching them, like looking at my watch. Why aren't they doing anything?
Why aren't they playing? Yeah.
Yeah, why aren't they playing? And then I just remember I had this kernel of an idea, like, oh, maybe not playing is just as important as playing when
Mm,
you're trying to set up your band, you know. And again, and I mean, we were already a grade one band. I mean, we knew a little bit about setting up a band, but
yeah.
that idea really kind of stuck with me, and really it's simple, and you never know when those ideas are going to come.
Oh, absolutely. And if anything, we're seeing tactics a lot coming more into play now with pipe bands. Like I remember in the bygone days of the 80s where bands would insist that you have to blow for an hour and a half or something before
Yeah,
you hit the line. And
nope,
that's madness, you
it
know?
is.
Whereas now some bands, 15, 20 minutes, settled, let's go. And that's
Yep,
it.
exactly. Oh, I also remember it was which major was it? I think it was at Dumbarton this last year.
Mm,
You can sometimes see the opposite happen where suddenly the weather got very good.
yeah.
And I remember Richard just he they must have had, it's the longest FM tune-up I've ever seen. So Inverary had like fair weather, not terrible, but
Yeah.
then suddenly the sun came out and it was glorious. And I just remember Richard really go for it, and they played a lot that day, and they had a truly magnificent sound.
There you go.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes that's what you should do, and sometimes what you should do is not play, and,
Yep. Just
you know,
ease
it's all
off.
part of it. Yeah,
That's it. That's the part of the game that I find fascinating. Yeah, as we were
yeah, I
mentioning
love
earlier.
it.
Yeah.
It's the most exciting show on earth. Maybe not, maybe
Absolutely.
not, maybe not quite, but
Yeah, like I remember well, I was at the Worlds last year and it was pretty sunny last year, and then it was rainy and sunny. And a lot of people were complaining, they were like walking about, why aren't these bands playing? I've traveled all this way and I can only see them in the circle. But that's part of it. So yeah, I hope that gives an explanation behind
yeah.
that for sure. So, Andrew, I'm sure I could keep you here for another half hour blethering away about stuff, but please keep us across any new developments from the dojo. Yeah, this certainly
Well,
sounds like an exciting one, this insider one.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I always love coming on, and I appreciate you making the time, and
No,
you
of
know,
course.
we'll see what my next wild and crazy idea is, you know.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, next time you come up with something out there, let us know. Yeah. Would love to hear it. So for
I already know what it is, but I won't tell you yet
oh, I
because we're,
love
you know,
that. There you go.
trying to stay a step ahead. Trying to
You're
stay a step ahead.
don't take this the wrong way, but you do seem kind of like a mad professor that you're always sort of tinkering at things and coming up with crazy ideas, but they're
Yeah.
always really cool. So yeah, we'll be across your next invention then, Professor Douglas. Yep.
Some ideas cooler than others, but we're doing our best here.
No, keep up the smashing work. We're huge fans, and yeah, we would encourage all of our listeners to go and check out the Insider Pod there from the dojo. Go and check
Yep.
it out.
Just throwing it out there. pipersdojo.com/insider. Rab.
There you go.
That's
Slash
the look.
Insider. Love
Yeah,
that.
if you're interested. I think we have a 7-day trial of it as well for those who want to dip their toe in the
Ooh,
pool of insider possibility.
there you go. And you get 7 episodes then because each day.
There you go.
Perfect. I might have to check it out myself now. I'm going to be nosy. Thanks a million, Andrew. Appreciate your time, buddy. Take
Yep.
care.
Thank you. Yep. See ya.
Thanks.